This week is National Eating Disorder Awareness Week, and Tara Hope, a registered clinical counselor, joins us now to talk more about this very important issue and things we can do to help people who may be dealing with this. Thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.
So how prevalent are eating disorders?
Well, the statistics suggest that there are about 10% of Canadian population is suffering from some form of an eating disorder, though we think that they're very underreported. There's a lot of shame involved in with those who suffer from eating disorders. So,
Right.
but approximately 10% of the population.
And it affects men and women?
Men and women, that's right. It's more common for men to suffer from binge eating disorder than the other more commonly known eating disorders of anorexia and bulimia. But it's across the spectrum, men and women, yes.
And I'm sure they can vary in degrees of severity.
Oh, for sure. That's right. There's a wide spectrum, and you know, at the far end of the spectrum, you'll see people with anorexia who are very much underweight, but there are many people who suffer from anorexia who appear to be at a quote-unquote normal weight.
Really?
That you wouldn't know just by looking at them.
Right, but they're
Right.
severely limiting their intake of food.
Yeah, there's restriction of food. There's typically obsession about body size, numbers on the scale, calories consumed, that type of thing.
Now, this is, it's a difficult question to answer, but I know a lot of women who are always concerned about what they eat and how many calories they put
Sure.
into their bodies and all that stuff. When does it become an issue? You know, a lot of people like to eat healthy.
That's
and then
right.
when should we be concerned?
Well, I mean, it's an very individual question to ask. When it is taking up a lot of headspace, when you're thinking a lot about, how much to eat, how much not to eat. I just ate this wonderful lunch at this restaurant with my friends. Now I've got to go and I've got to figure out how many calories I consumed and how many calories I need to burn off in order to not gain weight. We want to be eating for pleasure. We want to be eating for nutrition. Good nutrition is extremely important for all of us. And then, and also being physically active for joy, for
Right.
pleasure, for our mental health, for our overall well-being, for us not to be driven to exercise in order to burn calories so we can be, some ideal size or shape or weight that we think we're meant to be.
Absolutely. So if you suspect that yourself or someone you care about is dealing with an eating disorder, what's the first step? What should you do?
Well, I suggest to my clients that they consult with their family doctor.
And that must be a big step, I guess, to say this stuff out loud, isn't it?
Yeah, and write down on a piece of paper in bullet point what your concerns are specifically. If you have a concern about a child or loved one, again, write down the things that you're observing. Around food, things that the person's saying, if it's yourself individually, what you're thinking about your body image, about your worries, your concerns related to your food intake, if there's any binging behavior or purging behavior. So family doctor, and if you're not ready to take that step, the National Eating Disorder Information Center has wonderful information that you can access online, and they also have a toll-free helpline. They're also, across the province of British Columbia, they have, the various health authorities have eating disorder programs, and you could perhaps call whichever one's closest to you and just ask some questions generally, anonymously, and
and go from there. Well, Tara,
Yeah.
thank you so much for highlighting this very important issue for us today. And if you would like to get in touch with you, we have your information available. Your website is hopecounseling and consulting.com, and
right.
we'll also put a link to the National Eating Disorder website that you mentioned as well for more information for people.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for
Sam.
being here today. Well, the South Coast is not the only region getting a winter wallop this weekend. Yvonne will show us